Hello guys, how are you? You're welcome to this channel and my name is Faith. So this is the video where I get to answer the questions about landlord and tenants in Nigeria. It's going to be really short because the questions are few. Before I go into the questions, I need you to know that landlord and tenant relationship is governed by the tenancy law of the various states, okay? However, parties can agree to deviate from the provision of the law to suit them. So you can both agree together on your own terms and conditions to suit your particular situation, okay? Now, let's go into the questions. The first question says, who should carry house repairs on a rented apartment? Now, for this question, I assume that you are already in possession of that apartment because you can't be talking of repair if you have not been in possession. If you are just moving in, you're just renting the apartment should be in a perfect condition before you take possession as a tenant, okay? So for this question, I assume that you are already in possession and now there is need for repair. We have structural repair and we have the minor ones. Structural repairs are major repairs like changing the pattern, changing the design of the building and stuffs like that. That is basically the duty of the landlord. But when you talk of the minor repairs required due to use over time, the normal wearing and tearing, that is the duty of the tenant. And there are some situations that even the minor repairs should be carried out by the landlord. For example, when you have a leaking roof, the roof is leaking, or you have collapsed fence, a part of the fence, it has just collapsed, or there's a damage that occurred due to act of God or situations like that. But where you have an apartment delivered up to you in good condition, you have been using the facilities in the apartment, over time it is normal that you require some repairs. For example, at a time the zinc starts leaking, or you need to change a switch, all those stuffs that arise from the use by the tenant. All those kind of repairs should be carried out by the tenants. And then again, we have situations where the tenant takes up major repairs on the building or the apartment. In such situation, according to the tenancy law of your state, for example, a written consent of the landlord must be sought and obtained. Question 2. Can the landlord increase rent at any time? The landlord has the right to increase rents. In some states like Lagos, there is an extent to the percentage of increments that the landlord can make on the rent. This right notwithstanding, the landlord must give adequate notice before increasing the rent. He must give adequate notice to the tenant before increasing the rent. Number 3, I paid rent. Okay, I paid rent. The landlord failed to deliver possession to me. What can I do? Wherever there is wrong, there is remedy. Okay, but this court process takes time. This court procedure takes time. If you are still interested in that particular apartment, apply to court for specific performance. You have paid. The court can order the landlord to comply with your terms of agreement. Another option is you can recover the money paid as rent. You can recover your money back and then file a claim for damages for breach of contract against the landlord. And for a third option, you can just get him arrested for obtaining by false pretense. Yes, I know you say landlord and tenant matter is not criminal, yes, but in this situation, there is no landlord and tenant relationship created yet because they have not delivered up possession of that apartment to you. So you are not a tenant. You are not a tenant yet, okay? He just collected money and failed to deliver up possession. If you are not in possession of the apartment, then you are not a tenant. You cannot be in a place and be a tenant in another place that you are not occupying. So get him arrested is an option. Can my landlord enter my rented apartment at any time? The landlord or even his agent has the right to enter into the property to inspect or carry out repairs, as we have discussed, when necessary. But he must have given adequate notice to the tenant before entering into the apartment. There are some people that you rent out an apartment to them and you don't go to inspect the condition of that apartment. By the time they decide to leave, they will leave the landlord with heart attack. Serious one, because they would have damaged all the things in that apartment. So that's why once in a while the landlord may want to enter into the apartment to inspect the condition of the apartment and then undertake necessary repairs just for the maintenance of the property. So the landlord has the right to do this with notice to the tenant. Can I accommodate visitors in my rented apartment? Of course, yes, you should be able to entertain visitors in your rented apartment. But if your agreement with your landlord has a clause that limits that entertainment of visitors, maybe you had an agreement with your landlord that from so time to so time you would not be allowed to have visitors, maybe on so day, on some days of the week or something, or maybe the number of people that can visit at a time. If you have any clause in your agreement with your landlord that limits the visitation or the visitors, you will have to respect that. Can landlord and tenant agreement be changed at any time before expiration? No. You cannot change your agreement before the expiration of the term, okay? Except with the agreement of both parties. If you are going to do that, if anything about your agreement is going to change, then both parties must agree on the change. Number 7 question and the last question. What happens when my tenancy expires? The ending of the tenancy terminates everything. You pack out, you vacate the premises, okay? And let me say this, there are people who believe, some people believe that when their tenancy expires and the landlord wants to eject them from that apartment, that he needs to bring 6 months notice because they have been yearly tenants. You are no longer a tenant because the tenancy has expired, okay? You are no longer a tenant, and all that is required to eject you from that place is a 7 days notice. Just 7 days. You only get the 6 month notice when the tenancy is subsisting. And it's not going to be for free, because a lot of, I don't even know where they got the impression from. A lot of people also have the funny mindset too that 6 months of that notice, of the 6 month notice, is for free. Like, where did you get that from? Where? Is it your father's house? You have to pay. It's not free. Oh, it's not free. It's not free. You are gonna pay. The 6 months is just to give you enough time as a yearly tenant to be able to get an alternative. That is the purpose of the 6 month notice. Okay? The 6 month notice is not a compensation for having lived in another person's house. I don't know how people came up with that idea of free, but it's not free. Now you know it's not free. So that's it. I hope I've been able to answer the questions satisfactorily. But if you need further clarification or further questions, anything, just don't hesitate to drop anything for me in the comment section. So that'll be it. Once again, I am Faith. See you in my next video. Bye.